Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome award-winning, multi-platinum country music icon and star of the upcoming Fox series Monarch, Trace Adkins.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The following is an All-Star 15 TV production.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Hello everybody and welcome to All-Star 15 TV. On the broadcast tonight, it is the Sim500 TranService Truck Series, live from Atlanta Motor Speedway, the new configured Atlanta Motor Speedway. And let's get to the gentleman calling the race with me tonight. I am AJ Capola, but let's bring in the one and only Gary Wells.
Hey, good to be here again with you tonight, AJ. I am really excited for Atlanta. It is not the hottest tonight, but it is going to be slick. And we're going to see these trucks. Handling's going to matter. We're going to see close, tight racing, 2-3 wide racing here tonight. It's going to be about survival. We're going to see a hybrid between a mile and a half racing and a super speedway. Really excited for this.
Well, let's bring in our third driver analyst, Mr. Mike Campigio.
AJ, Gary, glad to be back in the booth with you here tonight in hot Atlanta. Excited for tonight. I think Gary nailed it on the head. It's going to be a mixture between Daytona and Talladega and a mile and a half. So I'm really excited to see what these drivers are going to do, 2 and 3 wide at times, and I think it's going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, man. Well, Mike, happy you are here with us. We know there is some very, very serious and severe weather out in your area of Illinois. So anybody watching from that area, please stay safe. Don't do anything stupid, and listen to the news and the sirens and any sort of emergency services that might tell you to do something. Listen to them. But we're here at Hot Atlanta, and guys, we just have about 30 seconds left in practice. Chad Colvin, Pedro Mojica, Justin Fuller, Randall Watkins, and Joey Gattina rounding out that top 5 right now just in practice. Gary, we've seen a lot of racing the last couple days from Atlanta. What have you noticed with this track compared to now versus old Atlanta?
Well, old Atlanta, it was about slipping and sliding around and managing your tires, especially your right side tires throughout the course of a run. Here, with the new repave, reconfiguration, it is all about holding it wide open, making sure the truck handles over the course of the run. You're still managing your right side tires, but it's a little bit different. This track is completely different to what it once was. But the common denominator out of all this is we've seen exciting finishes here at Atlanta in the past, no matter the configuration. Brian Wertman in the 74, he actually won the last race here in the winter series for Sim500 Truck Series. He led only the last 1,000 yards. He was like 7th or 8th going into turns 3 and 4. Everybody wrecked in front of him. He pulled it down to the apron and came across the line in first. We could see that tonight, but we could also see something similar to like a Bobby Labonte, Dale Earnhardt in 2000 here, just side by side, real tight for a finish. So it's going to be interesting to see how this race unfolds, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's going on. Qualifying is taking place. You're looking at Joe Hudson get the green flag on his go lap right now. Here's Glenn Campbell. Mike, you know, I know you've been racing quite a while and have run this track before. You know, I don't know if you've done it in a truck, but those Xfinity or Cup cars, how slick is it out there? Because if anybody was watching Monday night on the channel, we had Xfinity cars and they were just sideways upon sideways here.
Yeah, AJ, that's a very good point. Yeah, the Xfinity cars and Cup cars are so loose on this new configuration of Atlanta. You just really got to be careful how you drive the car, and especially if you run the bottom, one of those cars, you want to lift after like 8 laps into a run, because if you don't, you're going to burn the right rear off. I'm expecting the trucks to be a little bit kind of like that, but I'm also thinking that they're going to be more stable. But I mean, it just depends on how the air and dirty air is going to play with these trucks, and I feel like whoever stays on the gas the longest and doesn't burn off the right side of these tires is going to be looking good at the end of this race.
Mike Montesi finishing out qualifying. He's going to go P2 with Glenn Campbell going to P1 with a 32.23.
Separated by 4 1,000ths of a second. Glenn Campbell ran a 32.232. Mike Montesi ran a 32.236. Tyler Dalton now taking the pole by almost 3 100ths of a second there with a 32.208.
Number 7, Trey Eitzen. Here he is on his second
at Daytona
lap.
and Talladega and here in Atlanta, that may not sound like a lot, but it here, especially with the restrictor plate, tapered spacer they run here now in these trucks, that's quite a bit. So he ran a really good lap. Tyler Dalton did that qualifying lap.
There's Trey Eitzen seeing if he can improve from 16th. He's going to go P7 for the 7.
Yep, P7 for the 7 there with a 32.255.
Casey Duncan as he crosses the line in the Server Pro 71. His second lap is only going to be 18th best.
Yeah, and Casey's more looking forward to thinning out the herd a little bit. He knows that this is a long race, 110 laps here tonight, so he's kind of looking for attrition to set in a little bit, and I think he's going to be right there in that top 10 by the end of it.
He's coming off of turn 4 now. Not really hugging that white and red line. He's going to cut it underneath the apron to the line. Kevin
Not going to get anywhere with that. You almost have to run this place, AJ, like it's Daytona and Talladega, and you just got to be able to hug that red and white line. The real tricky part is at this end of the racetrack, turns 1 and 2. If you don't arc it out just wide enough and you go into turn 1 just strictly wrapping that red and white line, you're going to move up the track. But also, you got to make sure where you don't let the truck slide too much at the exit 2, because there are a couple bumps down there where it just scrubs your speed off as well. So it's not as easy as it looks qualifying these trucks here at Atlanta.
Here's the 0-1 of Schweinhart. Crosses the line, and survey says 17th. Taking a look at the 2 of Mike Kelly. First lap is going to put him 27th, and that looks like a good turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, that was probably one of the best trucks we've seen all night come through turns 1 and 2. Now he doesn't want to scrape too much speed off. He's got a good arc into 3 here. Hugging that red and white line. I would anticipate him like what everybody else has done for the most part and cut the dog leg here at the exit of 4. Wow, he's cut it pretty aggressive compared to what most guys have done.
P3.
It's going to pay off for him. It's going to go P3 here on the board. Yeah, I don't know if we got an onboard shot of Mike Kelly there, but it's really bumpy down there in the middle of the dog leg going on the apron like that. So, and that could also scrub some speed off. So, but it paid off for him that time.
Yeah, our wonderful people watching at home definitely saw that as he was doing the second half of his qualifying run. But I don't think, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, during the race, getting below that red and white line is considered out of bounds here, just like the yellow at Talladega and Daytona.
Waiting to hear what Gattina has to say about that, because I know it just depends on the series. Some series you can't go below that red and white line; they consider that out of bounds, and some leagues do. I know NASCAR in the real world, they say getting below that red and white line is out of bounds. So, going to be interesting to see how they approach that here tonight.
And as you mentioned before, track temperature is sitting at 121 degrees right now with a little cloud cover. I know earlier when we took that temperature, it was a 129. Not a huge difference, it sounds like, but in those trucks and on that track, 9 degrees is a big difference.
Especially with as new as this pavement is, it's really going to play dividends. It's going to fluctuate a little bit throughout the race. Now we're seeing here for the grid, it's 128 degrees. So if these guys get a little bit of overcast and a little bit of clouds, I think it's going to pay off for them.
Well, let's run through our starting lineup tonight. On the pole, it's Tyler Dalton. Pedro Maika is going to be outside pole on the front row. Mike Kelly is going to start 3rd, 4th. Glenn Campbell, Mike Montesi in 4th. Mike Montesi in 5th. Shannon Wood in 6th. 7th, it's going to be Nelson Rivera. 8th, it's Kyle Merkel. In 9th, it's Treya Eidson. And 10th, it's Brian Macklin. Gary, take us all the way to 20th.
All right. In 11th, we got Justin Fuller. 12th, it's going to be Hamish Gallagher. 13th is going to be Joe Hudson. 14th is going to be Robert Frieri. 15th, Joe Katina. 16th is going to be Doy Woods. 17th is Wesley Donaldson. 18th is John Schweikart. And 19th, it's going to be Kevin DeBrown. And rounding out your top 20, it's going to be Richard Swavely.
Mike, take it the rest of the way.
In 21st, we have Casey Duncan. In 22nd, we have J. Randall Watkins. In 23rd, we have Chad Coleman. In 24th, we have Chris Salaka. Scala. In 25th, we have Kevin Stone. In 26th, we have Doug Roth. In 27th, we have Ron Hollyfield. 28th is Richard Beasley. 29th is Doug. Is that Simong? Sigmund,
Sure.
30th, we have Robert Tucker, and rounding out the field in 31st is Brian Wertman.
All right, before we go green, let's talk about the drivers we picked tonight to possibly win this race. Mike, we're going to go back to back. Let's start with you.
Guys, I'm going to take the number 22 of Nelson Rivera. He qualified P7, and he was P3 early in that practice, so I'm looking for some good things tonight out of Nelson.
Gary.
Our drivers are closer together, AJ. I picked Joe Hudson, that number 15 Ford. Who do you got?
Yeah, and in 16th, it's Mr. Sim500. It's Joey Gattina. Let's see if he can move up.
You're starting right behind each other. They might be able to push themselves to the front.
Yeah. Well, Tyler Dalton, Pedro Mike on that front row, and pace car is looking for cover. We are green here at Hotlanta.
Yeah, and it's going to take these guys about a lap to get up to full speed here, just simply because with this restricted engine that they run on the super speedways, they got to get them wound up a little bit. As we already see, a little bit of 3 wide. They get better of it. Oh, we are 3 wide here on the back straightaway. 22's in the middle of it. But the one's kind of by himself. It's not going to benefit him too much. As we were talking about in the pre-race, you know, I think around that middle lane, while the bottom may be the fastest way around, I think that middle lane's going to become a really good defensive line for a lot of these guys.
I already saw in lap 1 right there, guys. Joe Hudson went all the way to the back. He tipped out of this pack just to he's going to take it nice and easy here at the start. I did see that early on.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Scala's going to do that. And you're going to see that with a lot of these guys here early on in this race. Just dropping back to the back as far back as they can. They want to stay within striking distance of the leader. You don't want to get too far back because you'll lose a lot of time. But we're going to see a lot of these guys just kind of chill out. Probably the first 80, 90 laps, and then try to make that last charge with about 20 or 30 to go.
We're still seeing side by side all the way through the field. Not a lot of position changes so far. The most I think we have is Richard Beasley up 6 positions, and that's where they're more spread out and where he's picking drivers off just a little bit here or there, but he's staying really nicely in that draft. As you see the 27 right there, Randall Watkins almost spinning it in turn 1.
Caution, we have a wreck. We have a wreck in the back. Looks like Chet. No, not Chad Coleman.
No, it's Doug.
Sigmund.
Doug Sigmund, yes.
No, Doug Sigmund.
See what happens here. You see the 40, the 04 on your screen. He's going to get tagged by the 25. That's Robert Tucker, and wow. They were stuck together.
Yeah, they were. Looked like the 04 was kind of checking up for the truck in front of him, and then 25 just nowhere to go. You'll see kind of washes up the racetrack a little bit, kind of lifts to check up, and it's so hard to see here, guys. I was in the Xfinity car on Monday night at this racetrack. It is just so hard to see the car that's passed in front of you. Like,
we're taking a look from Robert Tucker.
You have little to no reaction time here to check up for anything. So if one guy checks up, you have to hope and pray the guy behind you is also doing the same thing.
Yeah, the driver who checked up, Holyfield, he didn't see checkup at all. So he's going, he doesn't see the checkup, and out of nowhere, Sigmund, to his knowledge,
just slows down.
Yeah. Well, caution number 1, 5 laps in.
And we're going to see Casey Duncan get the lucky dog. He dropped due to a quality issue at the beginning of the race, so he's going to get one of his laps back here, and still going to be running last, but hey, you know, gets a couple more yellows here, he might be able to make his way back up to the field.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while, but glad to see Casey Duncan back. While we're under caution, got any wrestling fans watching tonight? We're going to take a quick commercial break. You guys got to see this, and if you're in the area, go check it out. Yeah, that's Fair Play Wrestle Fest. Go check that out. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. My buddy Ryan Fry for Wrestling Over Everything is helping put that on. Tell him All Star 15 TV sent you. Maybe you might get like a high five from Ryan or something. Maybe cool.
Are you gonna go?
I wish I could.
Oh, too far?
No, I have family stuff going on that day, but if I didn't, I would 100% be down there. Like, our whole group is going to WrestleMania in Philadelphia next year.
That's gonna be a blast. That'll be fun.
It'd be my third WrestleMania.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go.
Lights are off on the iRacing.
Oh,
Ace
I should
card.
probably go live. That might help me out a little bit.
That might help. I just checked that myself to make sure I was live.
We don't know what we're doing here, guys. No, just kidding.
There's always technology.
You know, it happens. I was wondering why my screen was so different from AJ's. Blonde moment. That's okay. It happens.
Yeah,
Well,
it does.
Tyler Dalton here is picking the inside lane on this start. On this restart, rather. At the start of the race, he picked the outside, so maybe he's trying to get a feel for both lanes and see how both lanes do here early going, and maybe he
Well, it's a
can use
good
that
time
for
to do it.
later. Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, this is also when you try to use the two-tire strategy here as well. Kind of see where things stack up for later in the race if you can use it later on, so... That pace car, like you said, ducking for cover. We're getting ready to go back, AJ.
Yep. Waiting on Dalton to hit the loud pedal. And he does there with a good restart. Mojica matching him a little bit.
Yeah, Pedro did a good job matching him there. Better than what I did on Monday night for the late race restarts. I looked like Jeff Gordon. My restarts are so bad, you would have called me Jeff Gordon. I would have taken that as a compliment.
I didn't want to say that on stream, but I was thinking that all night.
It's okay. You guys can roast me after the fact. We haven't even talked about you yet.
Hey, nobody's gone to the grass yet. Keep your mouth shut.
I know.
Looking further back, they are severely bunched up back here. You see the number 77 of Robert Fury. He was really down in the apron on that front stretch.
Yeah, I think he was just trying. I don't know if he was just trying to give extra room or what, but he definitely cut that dog leg a little bit there. I don't think it didn't look like he advanced his position, so he should be okay.
Look at that from the blimp cam. Almost every driver racing in that single shot.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this whole pack is separated by just a couple of seconds here between first and basically 30th. I mean, it's pretty competitive here so far.
And that's one of the beauty of taper space or restrictor plate racing that these guys do. The pack's so close together, everybody's so competitive, and it makes for two lines like we're seeing of just great, fantastic side-by-side racing.
And you get your fastest lap all the way down from the 21st position, Doug Roth.
Yeah, Doug Roth is putting a pretty good, decent run together here. Up 4 spots, 5 spots rather. It's really hard to pass here at this new Atlanta because really there's only comfortable amount of room for 2 cars. You can't, or 2 trucks rather. You can go 3 wide here in these trucks, but it gets a little tight. But we have noticed, or at least I noticed in the Xfinity race on Monday that I ran, if they were side by side, you had 1 lane up against the fence and 1 lane down on the red line. If you shot the middle, you could actually gain a lot of spots that way. It's like a sucker hole in there, but it vacuums you forward towards the front of the pack as opposed to Daytona and Talladega where you fall backwards. Yeah, I think one thing we're going to have to watch, guys, as we get towards further on into this race. This, you see here, we're about 3 lanes wide in the corners and on the back stretch, but we get here to this front stretch, guys, and it's like 5 or 6 lanes wide at the start-finish line. You get past the start-finish line, it narrows back up to 3 lanes very quickly. So anybody that's looking for that as a passing opportunity, you got to remember that you got to be about 3 wide before you get back into turn 1. Otherwise, you're not going to make it.
I haven't seen too many aggressive bump drafting early. I've seen up front the leaders going into turn 1 and going into turn 3. The guys behind them have been able to push them a little bit, but it seems like they've been getting off like as they get into the corner. I don't expect us to see too many guys bump drafting in the middle of the corners tonight.
Yeah, you probably won't see that at all here because this is a tighter radius compared to a Daytona or Talladega. So if you even get on their bumper and even think about trying to help them with the draft, they're going to spin out.
Look at the 15 of Fuller. He's been showing that outside multiple times. That's where he's making his passes. And then coming off the turn, he's going to crowd the inside lane and get almost let in.
He's learning from Martin Truex Jr. that was doing that Sunday night in that Cup race in Atlanta.
Now he's got a little bit of help here from the 01 to behind him now. The 1 was trying to do this early on in the race, but didn't quite have the help to do it. Now Fuller's got the help and the ability to do it. You could get a lot done up against the wall.
He's making a move. Here he comes. He's trying to battle for the lead outside here.
Yeah, he's going to be able to run down Pedro here. Might try and get the lead. He's going to be scored 3rd there that time at the line. Yeah, side by side for 2nd. That's what Tyler Dalton wants to see in his mirror. Yeah, we're going to see a lot of guys get cocked sideways here tonight, especially at the exit of these corners. So as long as everybody minds their P's and Q's and gives everybody a little bit of room here early on, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal.
And if this move does pull off for Justin Fuller, you're going to see a lot of these guys put down in a mental notebook that said, okay, that 3rd line can work to get to the front or get to the lead.
Oh, Swinehart really sideways.
Yeah, there's a lot of bumps right there at the entry of turn 1 that John just hit, and that does kick your truck sideways, and it makes it really hard to manage up there, and it causes you to have to lift a little bit to gather yourself back. But yeah, even though this place is just freshly repaved, there are some bumps in this racetrack. Already has a little bit of character to it.
Yeah, I know Mike was talking about how it's going to show the door for drivers later. I think the reason why it's working is looking at the talent in that lane.
Yeah, you got a lot of good talent in this lane with Fuller, with Schweikert. You got Trey Eitz in there as well. Kevin DeBrown also in that mix. So you got a lot of guys right there. Doug Roth even, he was really good at Daytona. So, a lot of solid drivers right here in this high lane.
Here he comes. Fuller's looking to the outside of Mojica, and he's looking to the outside of Dalton in a turn 1.
Yeah, and if you even look at the 25, Tucker, at least on the straightaways, he's up here in this high lane as well behind Roth. And they kind of noticed that as well when they were further in the back of, maybe we need to try this high lane for a few laps.
You guys want to see how sketchy that middle lane is? Here's the view from Pedro Mojica's car. As you got somebody to your outside, but you can't see them.
You're just trusting your spotter the entire time to make sure that he's telling you outside, and inside at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, you're in the middle of 3 wide. That's what I'd be telling my driver right now. And plus, you can, if he had triples or VR, he could probably see everything, just about everything around him. But to your point, AJ, on that single monitor like we got, it can get a little sketchy at times, for sure.
Now that 3rd lane has dissipated a little bit, now it's down to Justin Fuller and Trey Eitzen on the only 2 trucks up there in that 3rd lane.
Yeah, Doug Roth and Kevin Brown, they made their moves up toward the front of the field. They were starting in the 20s and in the 30s, a couple of them, and now they're inside the top 10. They're content. So I think you might see Trey and Fuller try it a few more laps just to see what they can get going, but I think we're going to see them fall in line eventually.
This is nuts. I can see 3 wide for a couple laps, but we're looking at almost 10 laps now.
43, it was loose in the middle of the corner. Great save right there.
This can get hairy, especially with everybody cutting to his inside. He's gonna have no help out there.
And I think after that moment he got loose, he was just like, "Yep, that's it, guys. Give me some space here. I'm struggling with my truck."
Yeah, and it could be because he's burnt up that right rear just a little bit, and so now he's just got to manage his stuff. We did talk about these guys are lifting a little bit on entry after they get into a long run like this, and it could have been one of those deals where maybe he wasn't lifting enough, as we got the 01 sideways here in the back.
He's gonna go back up, big crash right there, multiple
Trouble. And that's what we talked about. That's what we feared here. Just with this 3-wide racing here at these plate tracks, it's going to happen.
Ooh, that was a
Yeah,
hard
and you look here at John going into this corner, and it just like the truck just loads up, and it just kind of gets him loose, and then he's on the apron, and I don't know if he was expecting Nelson to give him some room right there, but it didn't happen.
Look at that, just gets loose.
Just gets loose right there in the middle of the corner, full load, and I don't, like I said, I don't know if he was expecting Nelson to have give him more room there, or maybe just out of reaction, it's on the apron now, and it cuts back to the right with the weight transfer and everything, but definitely an ugly, ugly wreck there, and a lot of guys gotten black flags because they went down pit road to avoid the incident, and those are getting cleared now. Feeding time on pit road here. 23 laps in, guys.
That's one of the worst angles you can hit one of these trucks too, head on like that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we got a busy place down here on pit road, guys. They do have 3 sets of tires for the race in the pits. And you can get about 55-ish laps on a tank of gas. Some of these guys 60. So you're
So we're gonna take a look at that again. And we're gonna take 2 views of it. One from Swinehart cockpit, and the other one to go back to Mike Montesi, because there are 2 different shot points with this. You know,
and you see Johnny's just turning left, and the back end gets a little bit away from him, and so he corrects it, and it just went sideways on him. That's what he's saying here in the driver chat. John is. I mean, it just went sideways on him, and he wasn't expecting it that time.
and here it is. Here's the view from Montesi. He's gonna go up, give a little room, and then out of nowhere.
Yeah, because John was saying he was a little bit sideways in the corner, so he was thinking to correct it just to back out a little bit and kind of gather the truck back up. And then he was saying when he let out of the gas, the truck went dead to the left, and that's what you're seeing there with the 01. So just one of them racing deals. It happens, and it shot him to the apron, and then he was trying to get back going again and went back to the right and right across his teammate's nose in the 22.
What's going on Matthew on Facebook? He's rooting for Richard Beasley for the win. Joe Hutchings has liked the stream. Hey, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
See, where is Mr. Beasley? Richard Beasley sitting in the 14th position. The easiest car to point out because I just look for the Tide Ride.
That's right. That's right. Easy truck to point out.
Well, lights are off on the iRacing pace car. Unfortunately,
And it is a pace car this time.
Brian Wortman just leaving pit road now. I doubt we're going to see Swinehart out of that stall in a while. That right front tire was completely destroyed.
It was completely destroyed, and he had no front end.
Yeah, he's going to come back up on the racetrack if he sticks around. Running like a modified, let's put it that way.
Yes, absolutely.
And away we go. Green flag. Kevin Brown with a great restart. That whole outside lane decided to hit the loud pedal. And they're going to cut down to the inside. That's going to bring Tyler Dalton to the back bumper of Mojica. And there goes Tyler Dalton in the 44 of Campbell. Side by side still. And we're gonna see this all night, people. And it looks like somebody just got foxholed. And that's a 27 of Randall Watkins. He's gonna get to that outside, gonna get back in line and only lose a couple positions.
Kevin Brown got really loose between 3 and 4. Mojica had to get off his back bumper to let Kevin save the truck. Tell you, AJ, there's action all over this racetrack right now. It's hard to keep up with everything that's going on.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like, where do we want to watch Justin Fuller in 15th position, fastest lap of 30.10. He's going to be methodical and try to get back up towards the front. He did come down pit road to top off right before we went green. I wonder if that extra lap is going to help him, but it puts him back in the Hornet's nest.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, and you can see here since that restart here, guys, everybody taking a little more calm approach now. We've seen what they could do. They know what they could do at the end of the race here now, but now it's all about time to log laps and get things going. Right now, we're seeing this is still a one-stop race to the end. These guys can go about 50-ish, 55 laps on a tank of gas, so they can go on one more stop from here.
That inside line is really put together. Just looking at that outside lane as Justin Fuller is moving on that high lane.
He's making moves by himself right now in that third lane.
Yeah, he's really been able to manipulate the air and just be really, really fast. Everybody's got the same setup here. It is a fixed setup race, but yeah, everybody's able to make it work, and they're doing a great job.
Basically, how you use that fixed setup. That inside lane being led by Tyler Dalton, Gled Campbell. Your first driver on the outside is the 93 of Kevin Brown, moving to third. They got a good run now. And look at Fuller. 3 wide again to that outside.
He's going
Could he
up.
just... Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say, I just think that it's been so impressive just to see him manipulate the air and just keep doing this every single lap. What he's doing right now, it's paying off.
Well, for a while, he would go 3 wide for just the turn, get back in line past the car. And then it looks like right now, as he's getting towards the front, it's not working like that. He's not passing a car to the outside every turn. He's trying to set it up now on the 0-2 of Shannon Wood.
I think he does need a little bit more help. I think he needs Wesley Donaldson to get more to the back bumper of him to see if they can get it around, make any more headway to the front. And as soon as I said that, here they come. See what I said? Wesley Donaldson jumped up there with Fuller, and they were able to get a spot there, and now they're going to try to go to the outside of Pedro Mojica here off turn 4.
Oh, look at the 0-2 trying to squeeze it. What? And the 25 of Tucker backs it up just a little bit to allow the 0-2 up there.
Smart racing right there. And I think Tucker saw what the Fuller and Donaldson were doing, and he said, you know what, I want to join the fun up here. With the 0-2, like you said, just slid right up in front of him.
Yeah, as these tires wear out and the fuel burns off here, we're definitely going to see some slide jobs, whether they're intentional or not, especially from some of these guys here in the low lane, because, I mean, you can only hold that bottom lane so long before it just spins you out on your own, because you're putting so much wheel into it, and then as you come out of the corner, as the banking leaves you, it's just your truck gets loose and it has nowhere to go.
And I think that's what happened to Kevin Brown. I think he got loose and he got shuffled to the third lane, and Mojica, Fuller, and Donaldson just filled the middle, and they just drop kicked Brown to the back.
Yeah, and so Kevin can really take this time now to try and cool his tires off a little bit. It's going to be a lot harder, but if he can just hang in that draft for the next couple laps, it'll be able to cool his stuff off, and he'll be able to make his way back up there.
Here comes Pedro Mojica to the outside. Justin Fuller is just a rocket ship. We've known that 51 is fast at these quote-unquote plate tracks, but holy crap.
It takes a very special talent and driver to do really good at these types of racetracks.
Joe had to say it twice, once on Facebook and once on YouTube. Let's go Pace Truck. But we're in the middle of a really good green flag run right now, and it has been side by side. Now they're getting a little spread out where you see it only side by side for the first maybe 10 or 12 trucks. Yeah, but I don't even know if I'd want to do it this long.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it pretty good right now, and they're staying content. I mean, there's not a whole lot of bobbing and weaving going on, so, I mean, they're doing a really good job. But, I mean, to kind of hit on a little bit of the trends here, we average about 40 lead changes per race over the last 2 races that they've run here at Atlanta, amongst about 7.5 to 8 liters per race. So, going to be interesting to see how many leads we get here, leaders tonight, and how many lead changes we see, because it seems like for the most part, it seems to promote a lot of exciting racing based off of the stats with these drivers.
Yeah, so far I've really liked what we've seen tonight. Well, I want to give a shout out to TranService Logistics. Thanks for sponsoring the Sim500 Truck Series. You're watching All-Star 15 TV. I'm AJ, TJ, and Mike. Thanks to the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. New episodes every Thursday this week. They're talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Drinking Bros Auto Racing. If you just want to talk about auto racing, it don't matter what form. Probably tomorrow they're going to have an SRX form for the race at Stafford Springs Motor Speedway. Who else we got? Falcon Grafix on Facebook. Go like their Facebook page. Use All-Star 15 TV as the code. Your first vehicle wrap, you'll save $5. And wrestling over everything. You want to talk about wrestling? Or if you want to go see a wrestling show, September 9th, go check them out down in the description. All those links. But Mojica and Dalton are still side by side.
And it looks like we're finally going to catch up to our first lap truck of the evening, so I'm very interested to see how these guys are going to handle that, knowing that they're running 2x2x2 all the way back. Oh, good to see the lap car got out of the way. That was perfect.
I would. It's not Talladega where you can just stick to a side and have everybody go around, no problem. You could do 3 wide here, but there's not much left room to be had. But as we're side by side, I want to take you guys a little look at the points. Chad Coleman leads Pedro Mojica by 7 points, sitting at 202 to Pedro's 195. Tyler Dalton in third with a 172, and that's shared with Tommy Ryan, who I don't think is here tonight, and he's going to end up losing spots. He was currently in that shared third position. In fifth, it's Kyle Merkel. 6th, Trey Eitzen. Scott Simley in 7th. 8th, it's Richard Beasley in the point standings, sitting at a 161. Mike Montesi, 147 in 9th, and that is shared with Shannon Wood. That's your top 10 people in the standings. as they sit for the Sim500 TranService Truck Series.
Yeah, with Tommy Ryan missing tonight, AJ, to your point, I mean, Bentley Glazer has missed, last week or two. And last week alone, he dropped 11 spots in the standings, and he's down to 19th now. So he was the biggest loser last week. I would expect Tommy to probably be along the same wavelength there, probably fall to outside of the chase grid, because it is the top 18 that make the chase. So tight battles throughout this field. We have ties everywhere. Third place, like you mentioned. Ninth place is a tie. 12th place is a tie between Brian Backlund and Richard Swavely at 134 points each. Then you've got Kevin Brown and Kevin Stone here, 132 points each. And then EJ O'Rourke and Doug Roth are both tied at 125 points each, and that is the bubble. And then it's 1 point between those two guys and Bentley Glazer, 3 points between those two and another pair, Glenn Campbell and Hamish Gallagher. They're separated by just a handful of points. And then you look at Joey Katina at 110 points. He's 22nd. He's only 15 back of the bubble. So it's going to get more and more crazy as we get further on to this season and into the chase.
And there's your points leader, Chad Campbell, in the 38 Jim Beam car, as we're seeing contact.
Oh, he's going to get loose. Oh, what a
Ooh,
save.
there was contact. He didn't just get loose. He got help getting loose. But that's going to probably relegate him right around that 15th position. He's up eight spots where he's sitting now, about to be 7. If Joey Katina gets... Oh, boy. Oh, there goes the 27.
Oh,
Caution.
Man.
Yeah, we kind of seen that developing back there with them guys. Like you mentioned, Katina with getting loose there, and Chad Coleman was getting loose.
27 was loose the whole time. Randall Watkins. Watch this. We're back in turn 1 with this.
Oh, yeah,
So
27 to 38 make that contact, like you mentioned.
Starts with the 32 and the 38. You see the contact there. We're good. We're good. But watch what happens when we get to turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, it looks like one of those things with the 27 gets
There
kind of
goes.
loose there. And I don't know if it's one of those things where you kind of saw where he hit he got his right rear on that seam there, that upper seam separating the second and the third lane. Looks like it could have been one of those situations where he just hit the seam and that's what's caused him to go around.
It doesn't look like too much damage in either Watkins or Coleman's truck, so I think they're both going to be okay. Maybe just a few seconds of optional.
Yeah, as long as they're floating at 1180 RPMs here, I mean, they're going to be fine.
Let's take a look. We're going to jump on board with Chad Coleman. Yeah, he's going to see it happen. There's a loose. Not bad, not bad. Ah, crud.
Yeah, as they went down pit road, I was looking at Chad's truck, and it doesn't look like it's got a whole lot of front-end damage. So if that contact he made there with the 27 was very, very light. That contact he made there with the 27 was very, very light.
I don't see any damage
on
the front end of that.
Yeah,
let's take a look at the 27. I don't even think the 27 is looking that bad either.
Yeah, it looks like they both kind of got away with one right there.
He's got a little driver's side door issues.
Yeah, but they'll be able to pump that out on pit road. I've noticed with the new damage model on these trucks and the Cup car and the Gen 4 Cup car, they could take a little bit of a hit and be able to beat out the bumps, and they're fine. So. Yeah, I was getting ready to mention in one of the most previous races here, back in August of last year, Pedro Mojica dominated this race and led 51 laps out of 120. Wow. And you're seeing Pedro up front here again. So Pedro and New Atlanta right now, they're getting along pretty well.
Yeah, they're seems like they're best buds right now. But Mike Kelly's going to take the lead coming out of pit road. You know, that's another driver leading a lap, adding another notch on the lead change mark.
You know, guys, quickly, I was just going to mention, as we were talking about the points earlier, we've also had 2 other guys had trouble tonight, too. Nelson Rivera, who's in 11th, and Mike Montesi, who's in 9th. Montesi got wrecked out in that wreck, so he manually disconnected, so he's going to lose a bunch of points. But Nelson is still running right now, so he still has a chance to recover whatever points he can. or to be involved in an early wreck.
Nelson Rivera currently running that 14th position. You see the 22 Ford on the inside. And the lights are already off. Wow, these caution laps really click off pretty fast, and we get to green at a really good pace. Make sure I'm live. Well, this should be fun. Pace car is going to take that left-handed turn down pit road. It's going to duck for cover, like I like to say. Here we go. We are green with a great launch from Mike Kelly. Look at that outside lane go, guys. And what do you know? Justin Fuller is going to push Mojica to the point, and they're going to cut down in front of Kelly.
Yeah, they made that look really easy, and we've seen tonight Justin just has one of the faster trucks in the field right there with Pedro. It seems like Pedro is really fast leading, and Justin up to this point has proven that he could be really fast working in the draft. So I'm curious to see, Mike, what it'll be like if Justin's out front. Does he have equal speed to Pedro? Because we've seen here at Daytona and Talladega in the past, we see some guys that are just really good at pushing and running second or third the whole race, while some guys, they're better off just leading the pack the entire time.
Yeah, that's what I'm also interested to see too, if Fuller has more of a leading pace or a pushing pace, just because, you know, everybody's so different. These trucks can be different depending on where you are in the draft. Some trucks are better leading, some trucks are better pushing, but so far tonight, like we've said, Fuller is definitely a guy you want pushing you at the end of this race.
Yeah, but what's scary? What's going to happen if that 51 gets to the point? Don't know if I wouldn't help him, just for the fact of I know he's fast. Let him sink back. But that's just, you know, my quote-unquote driver stuff.
Guys, how about this outside combination right now? Wesley Donaldson and Doug Roth. That is very impressive out there on that outside line. They both were in the back early on, and here they are battling for the lead.
Who is that again, Mike?
Wesley Donaldson and Doug Roth on that outside line, the 91 and the 43.
Yeah, I mean, they're pushing this high lane pretty well. Looks like Wesley's actually going to lead that lap. I think he does, barely by 7/1000 of a second that lap. So.
Oh, and they are hooked up on that outside.
Yeah, it seems like those two. I don't know if they're teammates. I don't know if there's any relation there, but seems like those two. At least tonight, I can't quite remember Daytona, but these two guys, we've seen them side by side and racing for position all year. So I don't know if they're just used to racing with each other, but they've made their way up to the front. And you know, Wesley didn't qualify the greatest, and neither did Doug. I mean, Doug started 26 and is currently running in that third spot, and one of our biggest movers in this race so far.
Yeah, kudos to Doug just getting through the field. It's a gigantic Tetris game at high speeds. The world's fastest traffic jam. That probably sounds better. And they are just hooked up side by side. This was real NASCAR. They'd be getting black flagged for locking bumpers. But then you go just a couple lanes back. You see Kevin Brown and everybody behind him. They're all lined up together. You know, there's no too wide battle back here. They're just trying to hold on to the draft and stay as close as possible to this front pack.
Yeah, and I think some of those guys too, AJ, are just saying like, it's a little too early here in the race to make my move. I'm gonna hang out, see if there's gonna be another yellow or two, and then after that, then it's go time.
Yeah, and I think that's what everybody, for the most part, is feeling. Outside of this front pack, it seems like the top 14-ish trucks are all kind of here within a second. Everybody's just kind of spread out and giving each other room and space as much as they can. Even though this place, it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to wreck you on purpose, but this place, just because of how narrow it is, seems to produce a lot of cautions, just because of the style of racing that we see here. So they know it's a long race. I mean, we're already halfway through this thing, so everybody's just minding their P's and Q's.
Yeah, with us being halfway, I know it's been a little while since we've done it. Why don't we take it to a quick crank it up? Everybody, we are back on All-Star 15 TV. It is the Sim500 TranService Truck Series from Atlanta Motor Speedway. It has been a wild ride all night. We've seen side by side since the drop of the green flag. Right now, Wesley Donaldson is your current leader, followed by Doug Roth, Shannon Wood, Pedro Mojica, Kyle Merkel. That's rounding out your top five. Justin Fuller in 6th. 7th, it's Nelson Rivera. 8th, it's Mike Kelly. Robert Fury in 9th. And in 10th, Tyler Dalton. Mike, what have you seen so far? What kind of critiques and everything do you have, if any?
Well, so far, AJ, I think the guys in the TranService Truck Series has been very, very good tonight. A lot of give and take early. There's been a couple accidents that we've seen, but it's just mostly probably due to the handling conditions once you get into a run under green flag conditions and the tires wear out. But other than that, these guys have been very, giving each other a lot of space, a lot of 2 and 3 wide action, which has been very exciting for us in the booth, and I assume for our fans watching at home, it's been very exciting for them to watch this 2 and 3 wide action. So far, I've seen a really good race.
Oh, this has been amazing so far. You see the O2 of Shannon Wood. If that number 1 of Merkel can get closer and bring everybody on that high side with them, they have a really good shot at getting by Roth and Donaldson. But they're just holding on to that bottom really nicely. You see the 43 kind of protecting the 91 a little bit.
It looks like he's starting to do what Darrell Waltrip would say, working both sides of the street, working both lanes to get up where the run's going to come from behind. You want to get up and block that run so you can get the momentum from it. And then when you'd see the bottom line start making a run, then you dip back down to the bottom and pick up that run as well.
Yeah, and I'm not going to jinx anything, but it has been a really solid green flag run with these guys. I mean, no issues for a while. We'll just leave it at that. Yeah, this outside lane, guys, can get a little bit more organized. I think we could really see the 0-2 and the 1 here make some really good hay on this outside. I mean, we're starting to see it a little bit on the backstretch, but if they can do a little bit of side drafting, not too much where it's going to get the guy underneath you loose and out of control, but if they could do that perfect amount and get a good run off of 4, I think we could see a lead change here in the next couple laps.
I think so too, but they really need to get closer, as you see it right now on that top side. Look for the run from the 1 to the 0-2.
Yeah, and I think part of it is the 0-2 is drifting up just a smidge too high for the 1. If he was a little bit more, putting more air on his nose in the middle of the corner, they might be able to get a run together. Because the key with drafting, especially at a place like this and Daytona and Talladega, you have to be nose to tail. Not quite touching each other, but nose to tail enough to where you can make some haste.
Trey
77.
Trey Eitzen turned the 77 into the outside wall.
We're going to caution?
No, we're staying
No
green.
yellow. We are staying green for that one.
I apologize, everybody, but you're going to see us hit that rewind button. It did not populate whatsoever. So here it is.
And that 77's all messed up.
Oh, I don't think that's what Trey wanted to do.
No, not at all. And that bent the right front suspension. That bent everything.
I was just going to mention this to you guys real quick. Trey Eitzen, he's the last couple laps, he's been making that third lane work right there, and he's been doing it basically by himself. So I was thinking with that incident that we just saw that he was starting to get his run to the outside to pull out into that third lane, and I think that's where the miscommunication was.
And there they go, right by the 77. That's gotta kill you. He's gonna make it to pit road, but really barely under any power there.
Here comes Eitzen. He's going middle 3. He was up in that third lane. He went middle 3, and now he's going all the way to second. This 7 truck is moving right now, guys.
Yeah, he was able to make that third lane work, and now he's all by himself here, trying to break up that 43 and 91. You see how aggressive he's side drafting. Seeing if he could try to pull that 43 back just a little bit. It's not going to gain the lead, but he's going to be right there in that third spot. Yeah, you see he's tugging on that right rear fender a little bit of the 43. Just try to get that air off that spoiler. It didn't quite work, so he's going to fall to the bottom here.
Well, you know what they say, if it doesn't work,
What
try,
incredible
try,
racing.
try
He got
again.
3 wide here in the back.
Oh, sideways right there. Oh, there goes
Sideways.
Fuller.
51 in the 2.
Oh, what a great save right there by
Everybody,
Fuller.
and that was in a really good spot because everybody can get spread out right here on this front straightaway with these guys getting loose like that.
Oh!
This is intense racing right here. I just called it about a little bit ago. This 3 wide back here, it's going to get pretty sketchy. This is the longest run of the night, so these guys are really starting to have to manage their tires and work on the handling of these trucks.
Well, you mentioned earlier on about everything that can possibly happen if we get a long run. Well, I'm throwing it out there. You can only go about 40 to 45 laps on fuel. Everybody
Actually, I
last
was
pit on
off by
50.
about 15 laps. You can go
Which
about
way?
50 or 55.
okay. So about around lap 100, 105, if we go that far, we should be seeing green flag pit stops, but I'm pretty sure that Goodyear Eagles on these trucks are going to be gone well before that.
Yeah, you're definitely, if you're some of these trucks right here, some of them might try to
we're
pit a
3
little
wide
bit
for the
early.
lead.
Yeah, 3 wide for the lead. Here we go. Who's going to lead that lap? Looks like it's going to be Trey. And they're still 3 wide. Oh, it gets real tight right there going into turn 1.
Tyler Dalton made a 3-wide move there to start that third lane. The intensity is picking up, and folks, you can probably tell at home the intensity in our voices are picking up here.
Is this lap 80 or is this lap 110? I'm confused right now.
You know,
look at the fantastic racing we've got right now.
I know it rained here on Sunday, but man, are they
Whoa.
racing like there's a threat of rain.
They sure are. Still 3 wide. Look at this, guys. I thought this was just going to be a runaway with Pedro, but we've seen the last 10 laps or so. Pedro's got his hands full with the competition here tonight.
If you're watching right now on YouTube or Facebook, don't go anywhere. Hell, invite your friends. Hit that share button and just get everybody on this. This is absolutely insane right now. We're 3 wide, 3 rows back.
Give a credit to these drivers tonight. They are putting on a show for everybody at home.
Well, they're doing great right now, but I don't want to throw it out there. All it takes is somebody to get loose up here, and we have a lot of wrecked sheet metal. It looks like they're done with going 3 wide for a little while. Oh, never mind.
Well, never
Mike
mind.
Kelly
You got the
filled that
25
hole.
right here.
It looked like the 25 wanted to cut down in front of the
Oh, a little bit of contact there with him in the 1. Can't tell if they hit the wall or not, but they got very, very close to it, AJ.
Robert Tucker I'd be white knuckling it this whole time, and now I
Yeah,
can
Robert
breathe.
Tucker just wants a place to hide, and I think he's been able to finally find that there behind the 22, or in front of the
People,
22
I just
rather.
want to breathe. Can we just, not go 3 wide? I'd like to breathe. My hands would be like cramping up bad right now.
Oh, here
there goes
comes Fuller to the
51
outside.
again.
He's trying that 3 wide stuff again. And he knows he's faster than that 1 truck, so he just wanted to, get his momentum here and take that spot away.
Man, if it's like every 5 minutes, what's Fuller doing? What's Fuller doing?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Could
It's a
you
pretty
say
safe bet. He's trying to go around the outside.
Could you say it's Fuller House?
But
Sorry, I just had to,
Nice.
boys.
Nice. Well, Robert Ferry is disconnected. Can't say I blame him.
hey, right now he'd be 10 laps down. Well,
Yeah,
most likely
he got
finish
a
in the
lot of
20th.
damage with that incident when that caution didn't come out. It bent the right front suspension and everything on that truck.
Yeah, it bent it pretty good. He was getting the pit road on basically just a coast. This is nuts. Pedro
Yeah, it
Mojica,
is.
your leader on the outside.
We're
And to
just
get
speechless,
to-
guys. We can't quite call it all.
And to get to a second back, you got to go all the way to Kevin Brown in 15th. That's a second back from the leader.
Seems like everybody right now is very content now to just stay 2 by 2 by 2 for a little bit here. And I would assume too that the handling of these trucks, Gary, I would have to say this is probably the worst that these trucks have handled all night.
Oh yeah, they have to be lifting here. I mean, not only does it help you save fuel at this point, but it kind of has to help you save a little bit of tire too. And the way that you enter the corner is kind of weird. What you'll see is they're kind of diamonding with the steering wheel, but you can't see it enough to where it's on track. I was taught a little bit here in Atlanta. You almost kind of want to keep the wheel straight as you're going into the corner. Keep it as straight for as long as you can, and then kind of turn late. But don't give it a jerky input. Just be very smooth at the wheels. We're seeing 3 wide once again. And you guessed it, it's Justin Fuller, everybody.
He's
And
making
you could get a really good suck there in the middle lane. Pedro's going to come down to assist that middle lane and assist the 51.
And here we go again. We are 3 by 3 up front from second on back, or third on back now.
And it looks like Pedro's going to be able to lead that lap with the push from that 51 truck. Pedro going to go to the bottom here to protect that bottom lane. I don't know if that was the greatest move, but here he comes.
I don't know either.
Oh, it's going to get tied off of 2. This is spectacular.
Yeah, look at this. Now we're 2x2.
See the 2 truck back here, Mike Kelly, he does not know what line he wants to jump in. He was up there behind the 22 of Nelson Rivera, and then he jumped back down behind the 43 of Doug Roth. So I think he's a little indecisive on what lane he thinks is going to go to the front.
Yeah, I see Mike Kelly, that beautiful blue Toyota, yellow. Promise that I knew exactly what I was saying and still said it anyway. Blue is in front of him. Mike Kelly in the number 2 TranService Toyota Tundra on that inside behind Doug Roth.
Yeah, shout out to Doug and Wes for just having such a great run tonight so far. I mean, through the 3 wide, through the hell and high water and the fire. I mean, they've been doing a really good job here tonight and working their ways up to the front. And, you know, they've been able to stay in this top 10, and it's been working out for them. And we've definitely seen a lot of comers and goers with this track. But it seems like it kind of scrambles themselves for a few laps, and then as soon as everything gets sorted out, it's back to the same, you know, leader and or top 3 guys as we're seeing with Dalton, Mojica, and with Fuller here.
It seems like also, guys, as we're getting down to coming to 19 laps to go this time, we're starting to see more of these back marker guys that have been hanging out in the back all night, trying to see what was going to happen in front of them. They're starting to get more and more packed together into this front pack, so we're starting to see this front pack start to expand with more rows 2x2 of drivers.
Oh, and they still have to pit one more time. So I'm anxious to see green flag pit stops here. I don't think it's going to work, y'all. I really don't.
Well, Monday night for the broadcast and everybody watching, if you did, they had to cut down at turn 3. Gary, I know you have the audio still up of the chat and everything. Did they mention pitting off of turn 4 or turn 3?
They didn't really say. I didn't really see in the race day breakdown. Let me get back with you on that, AJ. Let me do some research here.
Well, we're under 20 to go, which means if you're watching from Facebook or YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe, follow if you're on Facebook, and also like. You'll get a nice Stone Cold Steve Austin. But stay tuned to After the Checkered Flag. We're going to talk to our podium finishers. I still can't believe what we're seeing, people. Pedro Mojica is currently leading the charge on the outside. And I know we mentioned earlier what happens when the 51 gets to the point. Well, he's to the point on the inside and not really going anywhere, even though he's got Trey Eidson right behind him.
Yeah, no word on the entry to pit road. I would assume from a couple of other series that I've ran and what real life has done is they come in turn 3 on the apron. But I'm not sure what these guys are going to do. I guess we'll find out when they need to pit.
Here comes Kevin Brown, that third lane. He's making it work by himself. He's gained a couple of positions up there, guys. And he's
got a little bit of help now with Glenn Campbell and them. Oh.
And here he comes. He's going to go outside of Pedro Mojica here, boys.
He's going to take the point in the 44, but he's going to be careful if he's going to run that middle lane there, because those runs will come and come fast. Mike Kelly shooting foxhole there for a second. He got past 2 drivers, the 22.
Yeah,
Nelson Rivera.
Yeah, he got hung out to dry, AJ, and he's falling all the way to the back.
He's got to be saying, now you guys want to go 2 wide?
Yeah, right. Now you guys are ready to race?
He's going to fall in line in 16th position. He was well in that top 10.
Yeah, he's falling way back now.
You're now your current race leader, the 44 of Glenn Campbell.
Look at Kevin Brown, though. He's going to get a run here If him and this 28 can stay hooked up, I would expect a lead change here at the line.
Yeah, Mr. Travis Quaffle on that outside. I mean, Doy Woods.
Here comes Doy Woods, give it a push to that 93. And Kevin Brown's going to lead the lap by 41 hundredths of a second.
Jeez.
Or 41 thousandths.
You want racing? We got racing.
That's right.
This is so... Oh, there it goes!
Oh, 38 and the 19, they're loose.
Here we go, boys.
What happens?
Wreck.
Oh, we got a big one.
Oh my goodness. It's half the field right there.
That's going to tear up a lot of good trucks.
Well, we saw that coming. I tried to get to that blimp view as fast as possible. But here it is. Mike Kelly's going to clip the 38 right into the 19, and both of them... Oh, they're wrecking before that.
I think that was a chain reaction wreck for the guys in the back, trying to see where the two of the guys were on the bottom, where they were.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, Mike. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, there was a little bit of a checkup at the front. What triggered it, the 28 kind of backed up, the 38 backed up, the two couldn't quite see it, and then they didn't know where the 2 and where the 19 and the 38 were going to go, and it just caused a melee from there.
Yeah, that is so difficult. We're going to back it up, and we're going to jump on board with the 13 of Hamish Gallagher.
And this is...
He's on the outside. He sees smoke, but once he sees anything, it is way too late.
Yeah, and that's the thing here, and you talked about it on Monday night, AJ, with TJ in the Xfinity race that you were broadcasting. There's no time to react here, and I mean there was a wreck on lap 70 where the 55 and another car hit each other, and they went flipping in the air, and I was right behind that, and I was like, I don't know where to go, but I ended up going through the middle, and it ended up working out because they went so far up into the air. Put it to you this way. When one of my teammates that was in turn 4 could see that wreck happening and saw cars in the air, you knew it was big.
Somebody call Tom Cruise?
Right.
Well, Matthew's still watching via Facebook. Thanks for staying tuned in. And you're looking for Beasley. He's in that 5th position on your screen right now. Can't miss that tag truck. Ooh, Andy's got the matching fire suit. I like it. Doy Woods didn't pit.
Yeah, he's staying
It's a
out.
bold strategy, Cotton.
We'll see how it pays off for him.
You know, I'm going to have to watch Dodgeball tonight now. Oh, boy. We got 8 people currently watching. Let's blow it up. Hit that share button. Come on, everybody. We are about to see an amazing finish. And Joey Gattina, my pick, only second. Yeah.
You all right there, AJ?
Yep, just, saying I picked him.
And you're
Probably
choking.
shouldn't be saying this.
Yeah, you're choking on something there, bud?
I hope not.
Are you choking on mom's spaghetti?
Mama, meatloaf! Meatloaf!
Well, that went from Eminem to an Italian family. But, I joke
pick's
around
11,
that
but here we
whoever
are.
we pick, we gotta like knock on wood and jump around 4 times and pray that they don't wreck.
Well, my
Well,
pick.
Well, our picks are 10th and 11 there, Mike. So there
Yep.
you go.
Nelson's been in the mix of almost a couple wrecks tonight, so
Yeah, and he's been in the mix up front too, and he's been able to get up there despite the wreck. So I think he's doing all right.
Oh, now, guys, we're going to see here, especially on this restart and the last 8 laps of this race, it's going to be all take, all push, 2 and 3 wide.
I'm curious to see how this 28 takes off. That's what I want to see. All right, getting ready for the restart here. Pace truck is in, or pace car is in, rather. And the 28, Doy Woods on the loud pedal.
Yeah, he gets going, but look who's got right behind him. That's going to be his best friend for just a tad, as Joey Gattina's going to get left to dry on that outside.
He's getting a good push from that 51. Strongest two trucks in the field running side by side, the 51 and the 58.
Oh, here we go. 3 wide.
3 wide, split in the middle. Stuck in the middle with nobody.
Oh, here
Still
comes
3
Beasley.
wide. Here
to the
comes Beasley.
inside.
Gets blocked down to the apron.
What a
Pedro
move.
being aggressive here these last few laps.
Here comes Fuller. Fuller's going to give Beasley a big push.
Oh,
They're
14 in the
here we
wall
go.
behind him.
Oh, dumped off.
7's in it. 43's in it. Caution, caution.
Oh, man.
Just when you think you could catch your breath,
You
back it
can't.
up just a little bit further. You see Gattina, first truck on the outside. He's just gonna get tight and get in the wall.
Oh.
Oh boy. At these high speeds, there's nothing you can do. The minute you get sideways, you're most likely 90% going around. Well, this might get us to a green-white checkered, but might not be an attempt.
You have to
Might
see when
just
they get
be
the one to
a,
grill.
Wow. I know it wasn't as big as the big one we had, the caution before this, but we just took out a couple really good race trucks. You know, you got to start with
Lucky dog,
You know,
a
Trey, I'd
71 of Casey Duncan. Gonna go from 3 to 2 laps down.
oh boy,
Just in the
Here-
nick of time.
here it comes. And that truck, knock on wood again, looks pretty healthy, pretty clean.
Oh yeah. It's a shame he had his quality issues there at the beginning of the race. If he didn't, I really do think Casey would have been running in the top 10 to top 15. He usually runs really good at speedways.
Tell you one thing, guys, we're going to see a lot more aggressive moves that we just saw, like Richard Beasley did. I mean, he went to the top to the bottom to battle for the lead, and that was a very aggressive move. But, I mean, it's the time of the race, so you got to make those moves now.
Pedro Mojica is gonna lead the field to this restart. Gonna have Richard Beasley to his outside. But you got some really good pushers behind him, Justin Fuller and Mike Kelly. You know, I'd be really happy to see them behind me, but I'd also be really scared. Because number one, Fuller can go wherever that truck wants him to go and make it stick. Kelly almost can do the exact same thing, but I feel like Mike Kelly might be a little more conservative with his moves. But you literally throw that out the window with 3 to go.
Yeah, and if you're getting that push from either one of those guys, you better hold the steering wheel straight because it's going to be a big push.
Oh, yeah. Well, everybody, pull those belts tight. Oh, maybe one more time. You know, if I was that pace car, I'd be happy to get off this racetrack.
I don't know, AJ. He may be called into duty one more time before the end of this race.
I mean, there's a good possibility.
Get a chance or two, you know. We get a little more aggressive, a little less patience, you
But
know.
hey, it's go time. Pay
This is
window
not.
is
This
open.
is not a green-white checkered. We have
It is
3 to
not.
go. Green flag back in the air in Atlanta. Pedro on the loud pedal.
Great launch by the 58.
And that 51 had a good launch too. He had a little bit of help there.
Yeah, Pedro, great restart. Fuller though, amazing restart, and Kevin Brown.
Could he go high here? We've seen Fuller do this tonight. If he was clear right there, wasn't clear.
Comes that outside.
Here we come, 2 to go.
Dual popsicle sticks up in the air from Barney the Flagman. 2 to go.
Getting all spread out here again. Pedro getting a really good push from Fuller.
Uh-oh.
They got washed up there in the back on the high line there. That's interesting. Beasley still getting a big push from Mike Kelly right here down the back straightaway.
Don't push the pusher on that inside, but right now, who cares? You gotta
Rounding
go.
turns 3 and 4.
It's gonna be one.
Coming to the white flag, sponsored by.
Fair Play WrestleFest. Final
There we
lap.
go. I was gonna mess it up. I was gonna say wrestling over everything. Glad you said it.
Looks like the inside line is more organized here into turn 1. Fuller's now clear. Richard Beasley for second. Here he comes.
Who's surprised? Pedro with the block.
He's gonna go to the bottom.
Try to block again. Couldn't get it done. Here
Uh-oh.
comes
Contact.
Contact!
They're wrecking everywhere. Here we go. Who's gonna get here first?
Kevin Brown.
Oh,
Kevin
Kevin Brown is going to be able to sneak to the apron and win in Atlanta.
Goodness, the whole field.
2 races in a row, 2 big wrecks on the white flag coming out of 4. That broke my iRacing. As soon as that wreck happened, I couldn't see nothing.
My goodness, boys. That was the entire field except for Kevin Brown.
Let's watch that last lap again, AJ. That was fantastic.
You want to watch that last lap in its entirety, or want to see it from Kevin Brown?
Just the last, right here is perfect. Let's go ahead. We see the block here. Man, I'm kind of curious. Was that net code, or was that for Kevin Brown, or did he actually make contact with the 51 there?
Oh, God.
Wow.
That was a big, vicious wreck there. Everybody's involved. Everybody trying to get the most they can out of that.
Man, I wish this blimp cam was in a different angle.
How did Pedro finish second? How did Tyler Dalton finish third?
Sideways across the line, probably.
Right. This is incredible.
Oh, crap. Wrong button.
That was insane, guys. Oh my goodness.
Everybody just avoiding
There
everybody
it
on
is.
the apron.
There it is.
And look at Macklin. He's going to bring that truck home in 4th.
All right. So we're going to back this sucker up. Kevin Brown.
Let's go on board with Kevin Brown, shall we?
Cockpit.
Looks like a little bit of contact there between him and the 10. Then they make contact.
Oh, yeah, there's
and
a
then they
tap
get
there.
loose. Yeah, there was a little bit of contact there. But, I mean, what can you do? The leaders in front of you made a little bit of contact. This is the last lap. How much do you really want to lift in that situation? I tell you right now, if it was me, I wouldn't.
Holy crud. Where's everybody? Behind you. 10 car lengths. 20
Yeah,
car lengths.
yeah.
30.
30 truck leads.
Here's
I
for
mean, you
Mike
won
Kelly.
this race by a second and a half. Yeah, this is going to be wild here with Mike Kelly. He
I was
almost
really
made
thinking-
it. He almost made it. If him and the 10 would have made it through that.
I thought the 10 was making it through
Oh,
there.
the 2 got manslaughter
No,
here. Oh,
hard
wow.
crash.
Hard hit here.
Still getting
Wow.
wrecked.
His steering is completely broken.
Well, he crossed the line in 12. Backwards and upside down and on fire.
Holy shnikes.
All right, let's see who we got here.
We got P3. You want to talk to P3 first?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Mike, we'll give you the first opportunity to interview. Wow. Here is the driver that finished third, Tyler Dalton. Mike, take it away.
Tyler, it's Mike, Gary, and AJ in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, Tyler, what a finish off turn 4. Just kind of talk about what were you seeing there to get that 3rd place finish tonight?
A lot of luck there at the end. Thought throughout the race we had a really good truck, and then sort of got back in traffic when we got stuck behind Mike Kelly that had not taken tires and he was loose. And I don't know, this track, it just seems like it's a little bit too narrow and got a little bit too much grip. So you just get side by side and you're almost stuck. And then it was going to be interesting there before the caution because fuel was going to be really close for everybody. I think no one wanted to lead there because if you were leading, you weren't going to make it. I was sitting there about right on the number, so it was going to be close. And then Mike Kelly got in a Chad that knocked me down the track and got me a bunch of damage, so I was in the back of the pack there. I was hoping maybe to come away with a top 15, and if they all wrecked, never would have thought I got 3rd. Literally the entire field wrecked.
Yes, that was crazy off turn 4. Overall, though, explain to me how your night was. Did you want to see the race play out green, especially with fuel mileage coming into play there?
Yeah, because I know a few of the front runners were probably going to run out there. I'd sort of been trying to manage my fuel, so I was definitely would have preferred it to stay green there, but I don't know, this type of racing is just not my favorite, so I'll be happy to go on to next week.
Yeah, I know restrictor plate racing is not for everybody, but as we put Atlanta in the rearview mirror and we shift forward next week to Homestead, give me your thoughts on what you're thinking about Homestead and how you feeling going into that.
Definitely looking forward to that. That's one of my best tracks, especially in the trucks. So going from one of the tracks I like the least to one of the ones I like the most. So hopefully we can go there at Homestead and try to make something happen.
For sure. Lastly, before we let you get out of here, is anybody you want to thank? Sponsors, family, friends?
Well, thank TranService, a great sponsor for the league and the series, and they also on my truck. I want to thank the Sim500 Mafia, all the teammates. Me and Glenn were doing a really good job working together there for most of the race, and then chaos happened, but just ended up being a good race for us. We got 1st and 5th for the Mafia, so not too bad, and we'll get them at Homestead.
Well, Tyler, congratulations on your 3rd place finish tonight, and we will see you next week in South Beach at Homestead.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler, for coming and talking with us. Thank you for your help with setting everything up and your critiques to making the broadcast even better. Appreciate you, pal.
No problem.
All right, that's Tyler Dalton finishing in that 3rd position. Let's talk to the driver finishing 2nd, getting through that gigantic pileup. It's Pedro Mojica. Pedro, what did you see coming to that checkered flag? And just explain your race and explain that finish, because we're still lost for words up here.
Oh man, yeah, no, I'm catching my breath still. That was insane racing. That was hella fun. But yeah, no, the whole race, I just was trying to keep track position. We were able to qualify up front, which was good, and we were able to maintain track position, which I felt was pretty key. We were able to lead quite a bit of laps and stuff. So the biggest thing was just trying to keep myself in position to win, which, I mean, we were there at the end. Had a really good opportunity of winning there. Yeah, that last lap, going down the back, I thought Fuller wasn't quite clear of Kevin on the inside, so I thought that I, pretty much just kind of stayed there in the middle because I didn't think he had enough room to move down. But looking through, he just had just enough room to get down there, so he did move down, and I tried to react, but it was just too late. So then the biggest thing was just keeping them tight on entry, which, it worked. I think we were pretty much dead even on entry because we touched a little bit, which slowed him down a little bit on his entry. And it looked like Beasley was a little closer to me, but in doing that, like we drifted up a little bit, left a gap, and Kevin had a run, and he was telling me he thought that we were going to drift up more and that there was going to be more of a gap, so he was full commit, and unfortunately got in the left rear Fuller, which then chaos ensued. And at that point, I was grabbing gears and turning left to keep the car straight as I was getting hit from behind and from the side and everything. So fortunately, was able to keep it straight and come home with a second place. So I can't really complain. These races, crazy stuff can happen and take you out. So, I'm pretty happy that we were in contention. We had a chance to win and finish second.
Yeah, man.
Grab a gear and disappear.
Basically. So Atlanta, it's over. Next week we go to Homestead. We go from a very fast and draft oriented racetrack to a fast draft, but more technical at Homestead. Is there anything you could pull from Atlanta tonight and, keep that momentum going to Homestead?
I mean, not really. Just with the way Homestead is versus this, like the package is different. It's not necessarily like restrictor plate style racing. So, and Homestead's got more of a worn surface, and it's a little bit flatter comparative to Atlanta. So, not really much from Atlanta that you can take. Going to Homestead, the biggest thing at Homestead is just going to be managing your tires on the long run. With it being so hot there and just the track being so old now. The tires wear pretty good, so I mean, track position will be key, but managing your rear tires is also going to be important for drive off.
Yeah, man. Well, before we let you go, do you have any sponsors on that truck of yours that you'd like to plug before you get ready to go to Homestead, Miami next week?
Yeah, I mean, necessarily truck. I just running a scheme that that Chevrolet helped sponsored on one of the truck teams and the Craftsman Truck Series. So just running that just because it's worked for General Motors. So just repping them. So go out there and go buy yourself a Chevrolet or any GM vehicle. If anything, give a shout out to TranService for sponsoring this series and sponsoring me in the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series that we do at Sim500. So I appreciate TranService for everything they do for the league. Lynn Campbell, appreciate you. You guys on the broadcast, appreciate you guys and everything you do on the broadcast. Hopefully that was a heck of a show we put on for you guys. So hopefully,
we did everything in our power to not drop expletives the minute all that happened.
I'm sure that was wild, but
Cancelable activities here happening.
But appreciate you guys and the time you spent on doing this. All the guys that all the admins at Sim500, appreciate them and enjoy everything they do to make this a fun league. So thanks, guys. All the guys on team name, appreciate them.
Good
Congrats.
old team name.
Yeah. Congrats to Kevin. I guess it kind of. I mean, I don't know. It sucks to lose like that, but Kevin's a good guy, and I don't think he had no malintent. So it is what it is. So. Good win for him, and I appreciate the family for letting me come hang out for a couple hours.
Yeah.
All right, pal. Well, thank you for coming up and talking to us. Congratulations on your second place. We'll let you go enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. We'll see you at Homestead. All right, Gary, we'll let you take care of P1. Here's Kevin Brown.
Kevin, you got a copy?
Gotcha.
Man, that was craziness that last lap, man. Talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. I honestly didn't think we would be able to pull this out. That was obviously not one of the cleanest finishes in the world, but coming into that last corner, Pedro pretty much said it best for me. I thought they were going to go up higher than they were, and I just went ahead and commit for that hole, and obviously wasn't there. So I didn't really mean to cause that huge wreck, but I mean, we'll take it as you go. It's hard to get wins in the series.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the drift you had. I mean, going through turns 3 and 4, being able to straighten it out just enough. I mean, I know you won by a second and a half, which is a lot here at this new Atlanta, but talk about what you had to do to save that truck going through turns 3 and 4 and eventually getting onto the front straightaway here.
Honestly, it was all thanks to my teammate behind me, Chad. He definitely kept me straight the whole time. He was on my bumper. I think he was getting pushed as well. So when we just got back on the track, we just kept it straight, and luckily nobody else was behind me.
Yeah, a lot of pushes on pushes there. Well, I mean, the race overall tonight, I mean, we kind of saw you make a lot of good moves, making that third lane working pretty much by yourself at one point. It seems like at Atlanta, it does draft kind of like a super speedway, but everything just happens so fast you can't really react to anything.
Yeah, definitely. And that last run, I think we all were trying to save fuel because we think it was going to go all the way to the end. And I know Pedro, he was short on fuel, and then it started saving there. And I think everybody realized they were going to be short on fuel, thinking we could make it all the way. And luckily, me, Chad, and I think Beasley were all saving fuel back there. So we started going, and that caution came up. But more or less, it was a fun race.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, next week we go to another mile and a half, but completely different style of racing. We go to Homestead, worn out track, 3-4 lanes of racing, pretty much anywhere you want to go. I don't know if that's necessarily going to work in the truck, but talk about Homestead for next week. How do you feel about there?
Pretty good. Got a couple wins at Homestead under our plate. All I know is that we're definitely gonna have to save tires big time. Pedro's gonna be hard to beat there, so good luck with Pedro being in the lead the whole time. But if you can save tires, I think we'll get a good finish.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts or sponsors, shout outs, anybody you want to give to before we let you go celebrate the dub?
Oh yeah, of course. Chris Capoot painting the beautiful Racing Pride paint scheme, and them coming on for this season and future seasons. TranService for sponsoring the series. Joey for putting it on. And you guys putting on the show. I can't wait to watch it.
It's entertaining. I think you'll really enjoy it. All righty. Well, thank you very much for your time, Kevin, and go celebrate that win. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. That was Kevin Brown. Wow. Right.
Exactly.
Wow. Mike, take us out of here, man. I mean, what are your thoughts? Give us your final thoughts on tonight's race.
I mean, wow, indeed, boys. That race was fantastic, start to finish. And I think it goes with the theme that we've seen in real life this past weekend in Atlanta, continuing over into tonight with these guys. I did not want that race to end. I mean, it was fantastic from beginning to end. A lot of great racing, a lot of great side-by-side, 2 and 3 wide action. An incredible finish with seeing Kevin Brown somehow save that truck and come across the line first. And the entire field behind him wrecking in your mirror. It kind of reminded me a lot of the the Xfinity race in Daytona. I think it was 2012 when the entire field wrecked and James Buescher won. But yeah, guys, exciting night, great night. I'm looking forward to getting back in the booth next week with you guys at Homestead. What about you guys? What did you guys think of tonight?
AJ, go ahead.
Oh boy, what I thought tonight was everything I wanted to see Monday night. But we got it 2 days later, and it was side by side, literally half the field back. And for most of the night, it was a fuller on the extreme outside, making it 3 wide. I can watch this race again. I'm probably going to, maybe multiple times. Definitely that finish. But I can't wait for Homestead. Because Homestead, it's still high speed. There's still a lot of draft that can be involved. But when those tires get chewed up, burnt out, and really worn, that's when we're going to see some real driving talent come out of this Sim500 TranService Truck Series. And I am very excited to get to Homestead Miami Speedway next week.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Tonight was just fantastic. I mean, I'm still a little bit speechless over that finish. One of the best finishes I think they've had this season. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great race next week at Homestead as well. Definitely going to come down to tire management and what we might see, what we haven't seen a whole lot of yet this season. We might see a fuel mileage race at the end of this thing. So stay tuned next week. Anything can happen here in the Sim500 TranService Truck Series.
Well, before we close up shop, thanks to TranService for sponsoring the Sim500 Truck Series. Thanks to Falcon Grafix, the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast, Drinking Bros, Auto Racing, and Wrestling Over Everything. Check out all those links down in the description. Tell them I sent you, Gary sent you, Mike. All-Star 15 TV, how about that? But we'll see you at Homestead Miami Speedway in 1 week's time. See you there. Stay safe, stay cool. Don't do anything stupid.
Or do everything stupid.
Yeah, if you're bored, you know.
Don't break your knee.
Hey.
order to Hogwarts to Gotham. The nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
Industries across the board utilize fleet trucks on a daily basis, from your local utility company to your grocery store, and many of these companies choose full-service fleet leasing. With a traditional lease, you're responsible for everything after you get the truck, but a full-service lease includes all the maintenance and other services at a set cost. Regardless of the scope or range of your fleet needs, TranService will engineer a fully customized, full-service fleet leasing solution optimized to your requirements. From asset acquisition requiring no capital investment, to the engineering, configuration, and selection of your fleet equipment, to the people, facilities, and equipment to keep your fleet maintained and repaired. TranService gives you everything you need, with advantageous fleet pricing based on our national account status, compliance expertise, inspections, licensing, permitting, personal property taxes, nationwide roadside service. We cover it all for you. Contact us today to learn why leading companies rely on TranService for complete turnkey leasing solutions.